Hey guys, my name is Gabby, welcome back to my channel, and today I'm going to be filming a video that was inspired by another video, kind of. So I recently watched this video by Peter Likes Books, who is one of my favorite booktubers to watch, and he recently came out with this video called 5 questions, 5 polls tag or something like that. I'll put a link in the description for his video. When I watched his video, it really inspired me to want to talk about books that have kind of impacted my thoughts in one way or another, and I just wanted to talk about some books that are very thought-provoking to me and that have made me think. I don't think I do like discussion-y videos enough on this channel, and I feel like this is going to be a longer chatty-ish video, if that's okay with you. But I just wanted to talk about some books that have really impacted my thoughts while I've read them, and I haven't stopped thinking about these books since I've read them. So the first book that I wanted to be talking about is Dark Matter by Blake Crouch. This is one of my favorite books of all time. Pretty much all of these books are some of my favorite books of all time, but this one is especially unique because it's a sci-fi novel. This one really made me question whether or not you're the happiest version of yourself. The main reason for that is because this book follows this character who discovers a multiverse, basically, where he has like a million different versions of himself, and every single decision that you make on a daily basis, there's another version of you that splits off from that decision, and now there's a version of you out there somewhere living out the other decision that you made, whether or not it was something as simple as like what you ate for breakfast this morning, or like whether or not you went to work today. Like every single little microscopic decision you've ever made in your life, there's another version of you out there now living that life based on the different decision. The question that this book really brings to mind is whether or not you're the happiest version of yourself. Like if you had made different decisions in your life, whether they were the smaller decisions or like the bigger life decision, are you the happiest version of yourself? And like if there were other versions of you out there, would they be jealous of you? Or would you be jealous of them? And I guess another huge question that I got from this book is that, do you believe that every single little microscopic decision that you make in your life can make a huge impact on your life? Like, is that something that you think is true? I wanted to quickly pull down another book from my shelves called Maybe in Another Life by Taylor Jenkins Reid, and I just wanted to mention this here because this book is also kind of similar to Dark Matter in the sense that this character also makes one decision and it like changes her whole freaking life, and we get to follow both of her different versions of her life and see if the result is different based off of that one decision. And I feel like this book was also extremely thought-provoking because of that, and I feel like after reading this, I do think that even the smallest of decisions can have a huge impact on your life. Just the whole idea of like a multiverse and multiple versions of yourself existing is like so thought-provoking to me. I'm like, what? So the next book I wanted to be talking about is This Is How It Always Is by Lori Frankel. I'm changing topics pretty rapidly here, but this one really made me question, what rights does a parent have to make decisions for their child? And, you know, the main topic being discussed in this book is their son, Claude, says that he wants to be a girl when he's like 5 years old. And so the parents have to make this decision whether or not to put him on hormone blockers before he goes through puberty as a boy in order to prevent him from having a much harder time transitioning to a girl when he's an adult. And so this book just really makes you question, like, what rights as a parent do you have to make for your child? Like, does a child that's only 5 years old have a right to make that decision for themselves yet? Like, are they too young? You know, like, there's just all this debate in this book about that, and I found it very interesting and thought-provoking. But also just, like, the difficulty of parenthood is really talked about in this book, and how you never really have enough information about anything to make these decisions for your child. There was this super powerful quote where they were talking about, like, when have you ever known what is the right thing to do? It's like, when have you ever known, absolutely knew what was wrong and what should be done to fix it and how to make that happen? And she's like, as a parent, never. And he's like, not ever, not once. You never know. You only guess. This is how it always is. You have to make these huge decisions on behalf of your kid, this tiny human whose fate and future is entirely in your hands, who trusts you to know what's good and right, and then be able to make that happen. You never have enough information. You don't get to see the future. And if you screw up with your incomplete, contradictory information, you make the wrong call, well, nothing less than your child's entire future and happiness is at stake. It's impossible, it's heartbreaking, it's maddening, but there's no alternative. And I really like this too, because I guess this does tie into what I was previously saying, like, every decision that a parent makes for their child can also affect their child's life in a major way, and it's insane because, like, yeah, you are always guessing what's right for your child, like, you don't really know. I guess that's why the idea of parenting just scares me so much, because it's like, yeah, your child's entire fucking future and happiness is resting on your shoulders and you do not have all the answers. I'm changing gears again, and now I'm going to talk about The Perks of Being a Wallflower. I really love how this book starts off with that quote, "So this is my life, and I want you to know that I am both happy and sad, and I'm still trying to figure out how that could be." Because I feel like no books really discuss how it's okay and it's normal to be both happy and sad. I don't know, and I really love the discussion in this book about not comparing your sadness or your depression to other people who might have it, like, so much worse than you, because, like, it doesn't change what you're feeling. Just because other people might be having a harder time or, like, a worse life or whatever, it doesn't mean that your life's suddenly better just because you know that other people are struggling too. It's like, you can't compare your pain to other people, you know, like, it's not going to change the pain that you're feeling. This book is just so special to me. So the next books I wanted to be talking about are some of my absolute favorite books of all time, and that is We Are the Ants and The Humans. And I feel like both of these books have a very similar running theme of, does our existence matter? And I know that that is a very dark turn for this discussion. In 1,000 years, nobody's gonna remember who we are, nobody's gonna freaking care, we're all just gonna be dead, and, like, humanity is gonna be gone someday, like, who cares, you know? Like, why should we even try at anything, because nothing matters, because we don't matter. You know, like, that's, like, the whole theme of these books. There's a really great quote about this from The Humans that I thought I would read for you. "Human life is an average 80 Earth years, or around 30,000 Earth days, which means they are born, they make some friends, eat a few meals, they get married or they don't get married, have a child or two or not, drink a few thousand glasses of wine, have sexual intercourse a few times, discover a lump somewhere, feel a bit of regret, wonder where all the time went, know they should have done it differently, realize they would have done it all the same, and then they die into the great black nothing, out of space, out of time, the most trivial of trivial zeros, and that's it, the full caboodle, all confined to the same mediocre planet." And that pretty much describes right there why I love this book so much. I mean, it's just so thought-provoking, and, like, but this whole idea of how, like, pointless humanity seems is such a big theme in both of these books, which is probably why I loved both of them so much, but not because it's, like, pointing out the fact that humanity is pointless, but because it's, like, making me think, like, yeah, why do we matter? Like, what are we doing here on Earth? Like, what is our purpose? Like, the entire intro of We Are the Ants says, "Your entire sense of self-worth is predicated upon your belief that you matter to the universe, but you don't, because we are the ants." And I just feel like both of these books were so thought-provoking to me, because I'm always questioning, like, what is the point and what is our purpose on this earth, and, like, I'm always, like, over-analyzing shit like that in my head, but, like, to read both of these books, and both of these books go from having this, like, negative, like, cynical view of the world into having the most optimistic, hopeful, beautiful ass shit I've ever seen in my life. Like, they both go from, like, thinking humanity is such a waste of fucking air to thinking, like, humanity is something to be admired, and, like, looking at all that we've accomplished, and, like, yeah, even though maybe we don't matter, we make it count while we're here, and, like, oh my god, these are just the most fucking gorgeous, inspiring shit I've ever read in my life. And honestly, if you're kind of, like, depressed or going through something, I would highly recommend reading these books just to feel that spark of hope in you again. Like, it really worked for me. Like, both of these books are just absolutely amazing. And yeah, this isn't a book review, but it kind of turned into one, but these books are very thought-provoking and very amazing. Alright, I'm gonna be shifting gears again to another topic and talking about After I Do by Taylor Jenkins Reid. And this book honestly just made me question what is the true point of marriage. There's a really great quote in this book that says, "Marriage is about commitment, it's about loyalty, it's not about happiness. Happiness is secondary, and ultimately marriage is about children." And I don't know if I agree with that, because I don't think that marriage is about children, and I think that children is an optional thing when it comes to marriage, but that quote does have some good points. Like, yeah, marriage is about commitment, it's about loyalty, it's not about happiness. And, like, do you think it's possible to have commitment and loyalty and happiness, or is happiness something that eventually fades? I don't know, it just really, like, made me think about marriage and what people want out of marriage. Like, I know people probably go into marriage thinking like they're gonna be happy for the rest of their lives, and then most of the time they're not. I mean, look at how high the divorce rate is in this country. It's like insane. It's like, do you get married because you want stability or happiness or both? I don't know. It just really made me think about all of the things. Alright, and the last book/books that I wanted to discuss is Thanks for the Trouble by Tommy Wallich and Forgive Me, Leonard Peacock by Matthew Quick. These books both have a similar theme happening in them too. Sorry, this is like the French version of this book. I don't have the English one. These books both made me question the same thing, and that is whether or not we lose the ability to be happy as we age. And I know that that's like really fucking depressing to even like talk about, but like there's this quote from Thanks for the Trouble. It's one of my favorite quotes, and it says, "Doing something for the first time is always going to be happier and more magical than doing it again any time after that. And as we get older and we experience fewer things for the first time, it automatically makes us less happy." You know, it also mentions again later in the book that when change loses its magic, then there isn't really anything left to live for, because then your life just becomes routine and there's nothing different and it's all the same. And you know, this book really talks about that because the main character Zelda in this book is immortal. Like, she lives forever, and she talks about how depressed she is because she's bored out of her freaking mind because she never gets to experience anything for the first time anymore because she's been alive forever. Just gets to watch all of her loved ones die over and over and over again and watch history repeat itself, and she just gets bored out of her mind. And it's kind of like, I know human beings aren't immortal, but it is kind of a metaphor for human life as well, right? Because like, as we get older, we do experience new things less and less. And then another book that discusses that topic though is Forgive Me, Leonard Peacock. This book talks about how we lose the ability to be happy as we age because we were never as happy in our lives as we were when we were kids, and how we were so happy when we were kids because we were kind of stupid. Like, we didn't have any knowledge about the world yet and how terrible and cruel the world could be, so it made us happier as kids. Like, and I think that is kind of true. Even like, as depressing as it is, I don't think you'll ever be as happy in your life as you were when you were a kid, because we were living in a world that we didn't completely understand yet. I don't know, it's like once you learn the realities of the world, it's a little bit harder to be happy, if that makes sense. Sorry, this got really depressing. But yeah, I do think both of these books touch on a really important thing that I think about. Sorry to end on such a depressing note there. I think this entire video was actually pretty depressing. But if you want to not be depressed and think about how happy and hopeful and great the world is, then I would highly recommend picking up one of these books, because they do start off very, you know, cynical and pessimistic, but then they also become very optimistic and hopeful and just gives you all the warm, fuzzy feelings inside. So I would highly recommend these two books if you're feeling down, especially after this discussion, right? These are just some books that have really made me think and question things about life and really like think about our purpose. Let me know what your thoughts are on any of these books, if you've read any of these books, and let me know about some thought-provoking books that you have read and like what questions it made you think about. I'm always looking for thought-provoking things to read. Thank you guys so much for watching as always, and I will see you guys soon with a new video. Bye.